Okay, here we go. I better not slam that thing so hard. Made in China. It'll probably break. Anyway, let's talk about educated people. There are a few things that kind of grind on me a little bit. I mean, not a lot, but a little bit. First off, around this little lake that I live on, there's wealthy people, very educated people. I'm sure they're good in their field, but they don't have a clue about disrespecting the American flag. And it bothers me because a lot of our people from generations ago fought for that flag, bled for that flag, lost their life for that flag, for the country. And you would think that they would know what the proper protocol for the American flag is. And they don't. These are dentists and doctors and lawyers and people that have made a lot of money in their field. And they leave the flag out. They put it out and they leave it out unattended for months straight. Now, the proper protocol for a flag is, if it's going to be out during non-daylight hours, it's supposed to have an uplight. You know, it's supposed to be lit. And these people don't know that at all. It's not for me to educate them. I mean, they paid a lot of money to go to school. I don't know what the fuck they learned, but they didn't learn some of the important stuff. I once had a flight doctor, you know, the guy you go to take your flight physicals in West Seattle. He was a little twit, kind of a hippie kind of doctor, and he had served, and during all the protests and stuff like that, he'd go down there and he'd wear his uniform, and he was a doctor. He was pretty educated, but he was just an idiot, absolute idiot. There was a time when there were a couple gals that were flying east of Seattle. There's the Cascade Mountain Range. They were, and mountain flying is some of the most dangerous flying there is because of the updrafts and downdrafts, and a lot of times the downdrafts are faster than the airplane you're flying will climb. So, and one of these gals was a flight instructor, and there a lot of times you can get into dead-end canyons and you might have to climb out. I don't know what happened to them, but they went down, and I don't know if they were ever found or but if you fly into a canyon and you think you can turn around, the airplane takes a long time to get around. It covers a lot of area. So what a lot of people do is they just try and climb up over the ridge. Well, if the wind is coming this way and you're flying this way and the wind tumbles over those ridges or a mountain, some of the downdrafts are 2,000 feet per minute. If you're flying a little Cessna, on its best day it might climb 1,000 feet per minute, depending on air density and what you have loaded in it, you know, gross weight. So if you fly toward a ridge and you're below it, or even if you're above it, because the downdrafts tumble over the top. So I imagine what probably happened to them was they either went into a box canyon, couldn't get out, thought they would overfly the far ridge, and if the wind was coming towards them and there's a big downdraft, the airplane won't outclimb the downdraft and you crash. But a flight instructor should know that. And I'm not criticizing anybody for making a little mistake. Actually, it's kind of a big mistake when it kills you. But I've made mistakes when I was flying also. But one of the stupidest things I ever heard, and this is from the guy that did the stupid act. He was the guy that did my flight physical. He was a doctor, had more money than common sense. He had bought a Lake Amphib, which is an airplane about the size of a Cessna, but it's a flying boat. It lands in the water also, and it's got a motor up behind you on top of the wing, and it's a pusher, I believe. So it's a little weird flying it. In order to get insurance, you actually have to go to a Lake Amphib school. Otherwise, insurance companies, this is what the guy told me, won't insure him. So he went to Lake Amphib school. A little more complicated to fly than just a conventional airplane because you have to configure it for landing on water if you're landing on water, and for a solid runway if you're landing on a solid runway. And they're not high performance airplanes. So when these gals disappeared, did I tell you that this guy was just a little he was kind of like an old hippie when there'd be protests and stuff like that. He would go to these protests, the hippie stuff, and wear his uniform, his old uniform, and they'd put him on the news sometimes. And if they knew how stupid he was, they probably wouldn't have put him on the news. But I think he had good intentions. He went to search for these gals that they knew had crashed in the mountains. Probably the last airplane in the world I would grab to do search and rescue in mountain terrain would be a Lake Amphib. But he had enough money. He bought a Lake Amphib and he took all the classes and all that. And he's out doing search and rescue, slow flight, which is dangerous in and of itself. And he was at a fairly low altitude, which is dangerous in and of itself. And it was on a windy day, which makes the downdrafts and updrafts more severe. The way the downdrafts and updrafts work on the side of the mountain, that the wind, like if this is the mountain, if the wind is going like this, the wind goes like this, and you get these severe updrafts, 2,000 feet per minute maybe. But when it crests over the top, all that air falls down the other side of the mountain at maybe 2,000 feet per minute. And these airplanes, this airplane that he was flying might have, I don't know what the configuration was, but it might climb at 1,000 feet per minute, maybe. I've never seen the specs on it, but I would be surprised if it would climb more than 1,000 feet per minute. And if he's in a 2,000 foot per minute downdraft and you're below the mountain or the ridge, you're in deep shit. Well, let's just say this guy was in deep shit, and he called me that night, and he says, "McKelvey, she was a good old bird." And I went, "What are you talking about?" "She was a good old bird." And I said, "Well, I guess there's a story in this. Why don't you tell me about it?" And he told me he was up there doing search and rescue in his airplane, which was a lake amphib, which it'd be the last one I'd pick for that. And he got in a downdraft and he crashed it. And he was up at the bar having drinks, calling everybody he knew, telling them what a good old bird this was. And actually what he was telling me was how stupid he was. And like I said, I've done some stupid stuff too, but I try and keep it a secret. I don't call everybody I know and try and get sympathy because I crashed my airplane. But most people don't know why. You know, he just went down doing a good deed, searching for these two gals that went down, and I don't know if they ever found them or not. Found them, the two gals. But it just goes to show you that some of these people that are highly educated lack common sense, the least common of the senses. So I guess I've railed on that guy long enough. I hadn't even thought about it in 30 years. But I've just seen lately a lot of people that are very educated that they just, maybe they're really good in their field, but when you actually, it's disrespectful when you leave a flag out in the dark, unlit. You know, it's outside of flag protocol. That's why on holidays, my daughter and I call each other, because when we put the flag out, say for Memorial Day, we call the other one and we say, we just opened the post office. That's what my old man would say. So that's what we say now. And opening the post office is every morning that a post office is open. I don't know if they still do it because they've busted all the good stuff in life around patriotism. But every morning the post office worker would go out and raise the flag. And then when they closed the post office, they would bring the flag inside so it wouldn't be out overnight, unlit. I haven't been to a post office in a long time on a holiday. Maybe they have lights on them, but I mean the protocol has been set for a long time. For a long time, a lot of men and women have fought for our rights, and that flag is a symbol, and it's, to me, it's almost a holy thing. It's much more important than like a religious, like the body and blood of Christ, the Eucharist at a Catholic church. People can do that religion stuff if they want, but disrespecting the flag is a big thing to me. And I think it's the type of people that are around this lake. There's about 4 or 5 of them that just leave a flag out all the time. You can't tell me that they're teaching the right stuff in school if they don't teach the kids and the highly educated doctors and lawyers and dentists, if in their whole school career they don't know anything about flag protocol. Like you're not supposed to drag it in the dirt. Like when it's all wore out and stuff, you're supposed to burn it or take it to a place that disposes of it the way it's supposed to be disposed of. Maybe I'm just kind of in a pissy mood, but God, some of these people are just idiots. But I'm having a good day. I went in yesterday and tried to fire my doctor and my medical team about my back, which is full of arthritis from being broke, and my neck, which is full of arthritis from being broke. And in 3 years, they haven't done crap. And so I went in and had a little talk with my doctor and about how the medical care in the United States has taken the shit. And I mean, he can't really say anything because that's how he makes his money, but he was saying we're on the same page. You know, the insurance companies control everything. Now you have in Medicare, I think it's Medicare that I'm on, with a supplemental, you have to have a primary care doctor. That means if you cut your finger and you need stitches, you have to talk to your primary care doctor, and then he has to refer you to someone that does actual stitching, maybe. You know. And so far, when I've been referred to doctors like the spine doctor or anything like that, it takes 3 months to get in. Give me the old days. Give me people that respect the flag. Give me people that have common sense. And make it so I don't get played by these goddamn insurance companies. Anyway, let's let me do this. Close this one out. I'm actually a little dry in the throat from bitching so much. Okay.